So I'm very near the area where the home is, where the house is. And I've been coming here in a valley which was still having garbages from, I think, many years ago, probably decades. I even found one of these old phones, man, like really like an old, one of those wired phones, the old ones. So see this entire small area here, which goes all the way here up. So it's just a small valley, and when it rains, all of this entire valley gets it's like a small river forming here, but only when it rains. So yeah, see that one, I have to come tomorrow. I couldn't get it out, and I have to bring a tool or something. But anyway, so here are some insights. So yeah, so this entire area here was kind of filled with garbages. It looked awful, man, like awful, absolutely awful. When I came here, I so much enjoyed coming when it rained, to stay near this tiny river, you know, because there are no large rivers near the area where I live, and I miss this. I miss the rivers. So when I came here to, you know, stay a bit with this small river, this entire area here was so filled with garbages. It was literally putting a knot in my throat. And now it looks just freaking beautiful. I know this entire area doesn't look like much, but nature is beautiful. It has its own energy, and I can feel immediately when I clean it, something changes immediately in the energy, in the environment. Something changes. So because of this, you know, valley here, which has water when it rains, and all throughout this area here, you know, there were a lot of this, you know, old clothing and bottles and all sorts of stuff, you know, carried by the water. So they were deep into this mud here. So it took me around 4 hours to clean just this small area here, because, you know, the garbages were so thick. So, let's say, deep into the mud. And I struggled, you know, I really struggled to get them out. It's just unbelievable. Look at this. And it was worse before. Now it's a bit better. So the idea here is that I literally struggle, man, like literally pulling this heavy stuff out of there, you know, having mud, you know, splattering all over my face sometimes, you know, my hair, and really literally heavy work, like muscle work. I literally pulled and pulled and pulled some of them, and they wouldn't come out, you know, and then I pulled and pulled and pulled, and so much struggle on my hands, you know, on my arms, on my muscles. And now I'm done. It has been 4 hours. There are these bags. There are these ones there, and a lot more upstairs. But just to understand how many there were in just a small area like that. So check this out. So all of this stuff, plus there are at least 2 more, which I already took them up there. Yeah, up there, from where I'll pick them up. So this is the amount, you know. And there was literally heavy work. And what I wanted to share with all of this actually was that, you know, when you do acts like this, you know, and you put up this type of effort, you know, because it is a lot of effort, as I've explained, you know, to do this type of work. See, you're not only putting up effort just for like these people, they go to the gym and they exercise, they exercise their muscles at the gym, and they put up so much effort, they even have to pay to be given the opportunity, to struggle and to encounter effort and to put up effort, So they pay up subscription, to the gym, and then they go there and they lift up all those heavy weights and all of this stuff. But see, there's a different type of effort that you can do. And if you are to perform a certain effort, to keep yourself fit and in shape, because by the way, I can also feel like this is good for my body. This type of effort it actually does me good. I feel better in a way, in a better shape when I have activity, physical activity, than when I have weeks of just, like a more sedentary weeks, in which I don't put in so much physical effort. So I feel good when I put in some physical effort, And so do these people, because the physical body does indeed need movement and effort to keep itself in shape. So they go, and they pay a subscription to these gyms, and they go there so they can perform some effort, so they can exercise their physical body. But see, when they do that, they only do it, all that effort is mainly done for their own self. They are the prime beneficiary of that effort that they put in. Instead, if you decide, for example, to put in this type of effort, it's still an actual physical strain on the physical body and on the muscles, and you literally put in effort. But see, the result of this effort is double, right? Because you don't only help yourself, but you also help something else, man. Just, something else than yourself. In this case, you're helping the earth. You're helping the forest. You're helping a river. So they benefit from your effort just as much as you benefit physically from that effort. Isn't that interesting? But in the case of these people which just go, and pay to a gym to exercise, or just they go jogging or something, all of that effort is mainly aimed and focused on themselves. There is nobody else benefiting from that effort but themselves. And this is what I wanted to share. Because, for example, if we have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of energy in this life, let's say, every day, why not use that limited amount of time and energy to truly do something good with it? Put it in service of something truly good, not only for your own sake, but if you can do an action which also helps you but also helps something else, why not do it like that? Why not optimize? And as it would be called, why not maximize on the energy and time that you have and truly do the best with it, each day. And thinking in terms of, okay, I have this limited amount of time and energy. What's the best way in which I could use it today? What's the best thing that I could put my energy, my time, my effort, my dedication, my own attention in? Like, literally. You can think of it literally in terms of a true investment. What is it truly worthy to invest my time in, and my energy in, and my efforts in? What would truly yield the most amount of, let's say, good, actual, true goodness? Or, let's say, an actual true change in the world. Like, I could use this energy and time that I have to just, scroll videos on YouTube and think I'm learning something. I might learn a thing here and there, but, hours go by and I'm just sitting on a chair. And how much does the world benefit from that? It's an actual valid question. Like, we have to also, take into account, by the way, that when we spend that time on YouTube, we are consuming resources, like literally resources of the earth. Because all that information passes through data centers consume electricity and water. So it's not only the bill, the cost of using technology and, viewing videos on YouTube. It's not only that electricity bill that you receive. The cost is way more higher than that. But it's a hidden cost. It's your living cost. So you're actually depleting the resources of the earth by watching those videos on YouTube. And that's another thing to take into account usually. How much is healthy to spend, that time on social media and YouTube, taking into account that the earth is truly depleted for us to be able to do that. So back to this idea of the effort, and the energy and time that we have each day. See, we can invest it in just scrolling some videos on YouTube, and the day, half of the day can pass just like that. Or we can, as I said, quote unquote, maximize on, let's say, the outputs, the results, the things that actually we can achieve. We can use that energy for, and the things that we can truly achieve with it. As I said, don't you think that this entire area here is completely different right now? Like 4 hours of physical effort, I got the benefits of exercising, let's say, and keeping my body in shape. And look at this entire area here. It got the benefit of literally cleaning, being clean once again, and I can tell you, because I have such a connection with, the trees and the ground and the rivers. It's like each time I pull one of these garbages, by the way, from a tree or near the area of a tree, I can feel like a breath. The tree, it's like it's like it's being able to breathe once again. They are very suffocated by these garbages. Even, of course, we don't perceive that because we believe, like, what's the harm? Because they have the roots in the ground. So garbages are mainly on the surface. So see, logically, you would think that it doesn't affect them that much. But no, I can tell you, they are very affected by having all this, let's say, uncare, people just throwing their stuff here. They suffer. They suffer for being treated like that. It's like having a disease on their skin or something. Yeah, it doesn't get to the roots, but the skin, their surface area suffers, and they don't like looking like that. Like similar to how we wouldn't, don't like looking, having these blisters on our skin, or I don't know the name in English when you have those things on your face, those red things with, I don't know, I don't know the name in English, the word in English right now. But you don't like your skin to look ugly. Similar, they don't like. They actually feel awful to have all those garbages left over everywhere. Nature loves being beautiful, man. She loves being admired. She loves being beautiful. She doesn't like being ugly. She doesn't like having garbages in it. So now 4 hours, she looks amazing, even if you wouldn't say, there's any, there's that much, to this environment here. Because look, it's not, probably there are, more beautiful places than this one. But nonetheless, I can feel the change here. Like, they are happy. They're literally happy, man. They feel beautiful again, and when nature feels beautiful again, by the way, she gains again, like the motivation to create again life. She gains the motivation. She feels somebody cares. People care. I have a reason to create again more trees, more plants. I have a reason now. I have a reason to try, to pull myself up from the ground, from this awful state that I've been brought to. There is a reason for me to try to heal. She's being given a reason through us, seeing that we care. We do care. It's like, for example, it's like you being ill, very terribly, chronically, terminally ill, cancer, let's say. But if you feel like there's somebody out there, a family member, a child, a spouse, somebody who truly loves you, man, like it loves you with its entire being, and, it gives you the motivation to freaking fight, fight that illness and even recover. That's the power of love. And it's no different than this thing here. When she feels she's truly loved, and appreciated and cared for, like literally, look at that. Like freaking humans are able to put themselves through so much struggle, just to clean my skin. Well, they might really care, They must really care if they put themselves through so much to help me out. And they say she senses our heart. She senses everything we feel in each action that we do. She senses the care. She senses the love. And this entire area, just to get back now, it's different. Now that it is clean, it is different. She feels different. The entire area now, it's just more happy. And, it's happy to be clean and beautiful, but it's also happy that it is being loved. Like this area here felt loved today. It felt again how it is to be loved by somebody, by humans, which, that's how we are with our beautiful earth. We constantly love her. We constantly admire her. And thus she always has the reasons to create more beauty, more, life, which works perfectly, man. It's only, by the way, it's only through our abandonment that she became to be, in this very awful condition that she is in right now. The earth doesn't look like this originally. Animals don't eat each other up. Environments don't look this awful. She creates undescribable environments undescribable life, perfection, and beyond. It's just beyond what can be described with words. But she creates out of love. Being loved, being admired, being appreciated, being cared for, just like anybody, right? For example, an artist, like if you have a gift of painting, let's say, or of creating music, maybe some of you have experienced already this. You know how awful it is when you have a true gift in a certain area. For example, you really have a gift with music, and you create this, you put up so much, like so much of your time and effort to really bring your passion to life, and create these beautiful compositions and these beautiful pieces of music, and then you put them out and almost nobody even notices them. Have you felt how that feels? When you give everything you have, let's say all the beauty in your heart, all the passion, and rarely anybody even notices. Or those pieces of music, they might just go on, almost completely unnoticed. Yeah, somebody might listen here and there. You might receive a compliment here and there, but people don't pay attention. They don't care. It's almost like with time, if you continue to do this, it's almost like you don't even feel to do it anymore. What's the purpose to even try, to even create anything anymore if nobody even pays attention, nobody even notices, nobody even cares for all these creations? I've put so much time in this, I've put my being, my heart in this, and it's just almost nobody even cared. It makes you, not want to do it anymore. You stop creating, and that's no different than the earth. We all need to support each other. Pay attention to each other. Give attention back to one another and to our earth. Yeah, so to conclude now, see, she received care. She received love. She received motivation now. A bit, just a bit in this area. There's, an entire earth. So many areas need care and love. But, at least a bit received it. And I got to exercise my physical body, and I got to be in nature, with the sounds of the birds. And now, we have these trees which are blossoming, and there is this smell in the air everywhere. So I got to, take a fresh breath of air, be in nature, in silence, with the birds, exercising. She got to feel restored, and cleaned and more healthy. And, feeling loved and admired and cared for. So it's like a win-win. We both benefited from this action, from this act. So this was the insight. That there are things that we can do with our time and energy that can benefit more of this life than just ourselves. And it's not necessarily that, people now, everybody would pick up this activity and they would go and clean up nature, although there's so much need of this. By the way, there's so much need of people going in nature and start, caring for the earth, cleaning it up, healing it, helping it heal, man. There's so much need of this, by the way. But maybe there are other people which are naturally inclined to help in another way. Maybe there are other areas that need our help. And again, with the same amount of time and energy, maybe you can do something which benefits you, but also benefits something else and someone else. So I personally would see this type of turnaround of our entire vision and our entire mentality as humans here. Instead of thinking, what can I do for myself today? No, what can I do for life today? Including myself, of course, I'm always including myself because I am part of life. But, how can I contribute holistically today? to myself and to the world. I think this would truly create almost like an unstoppable change, a completely new living experience on earth for all of us.